Do you remember Pier 1 Imports? Pier 1 Imports was a Fort Worth, Texas-based online retailer and home store chain specializing in imported home furnishings and decor from 1962 to 2020. Welcome to Eric C. Productions. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, please hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that you can be updated with my latest videos that are posted daily. Thanks for watching, and now back to the program.
You look stressed, Sister Moon. You need shopping therapy. Pier 1! I feel the vibe already. Become one with Ginger, one with the peach. Relax. Like we're in a meadow, but we're not.
Pier 1. Get in touch with your senses.
My work here is done.
The first Pier 1 opened in 1962 in San Mateo, California. Charles Tandy and Luther Henderson opened the precursor to Pier 1 shops in 1962 under the name Cost Plus. Pier 1 was inspired by the owner of a rattan furniture importer and wholesaler in San Mateo, California, who was having credit problems. To help liquidate costly inventory, the shop owner opened a liquidation outlet in 1958 called Cost Plus. Impressed by the shop's success, Tandy offered the owner of Cost Plus a loan to start a retail Cost Plus outlet. At the same time, Tandy secured the rights to open and operate additional stores under the Cost Plus name. The concept behind Tandy's Cost Plus chain plan was relatively simple. A strong US dollar will allow him to import items including rattan furniture, brass candlesticks, specialty textiles, and other items at rock-bottom prices from countries such as Mexico, India, and Thailand. Even with large markups, the goods would seem relatively cheap in the United States. Furthermore, items that did not sell well could be easily liquidated by cutting their price to near cost. Tandy opened 16 Cost Plus retail outlets between 1962 and 1965. By 1966, however, Tandy's growing Radio Shack enterprise began to take much of his attention away from the Cost Plus venture. On February 10, 1966, a group of 30 investors led by Henderson bought Tandy's Cost Plus operation. They changed the name to Pier 1 Imports to reflect the store's import emphasis and embarked on a mission to expand the concept nationally. The original Cost Plus outlet remained under separate ownership and eventually grew into the nationwide Cost Plus chain of the early 21st century, one of Pier 1's competitors. By 1967, Pier 1's sales had already reached $4.5 million annually. Growth accelerated throughout the remainder of the 1960s. By 1969, the chain had grown to 42 stores and demand for Pier 1's goods was increasing. Pier 1 joined the New York Stock Exchange in 1972. At this time, the company had grown to 123 stores. After an explosive decade of growth, Pier 1's fortunes began to change in the mid-1970s. Importantly, global inflation and exchange rate fluctuations exposed Pier 1's unique vulnerability to worldwide financial changes. Foreign goods became much more expensive, thus diminishing Pier 1's important cost advantages. Furthermore, other retail chains and department stores began to vie for some of Pier 1's market share by offering many of the same imported goods. To make matters worse, the core group of customers upon which Pier 1 had focused its energy was changing. Baby boomers were becoming more sophisticated by the mid and late 1970s and were increasingly interested in more mainstream goods. According to some critics, Pier 1 lost touch with its patrons and failed to change its inventory to meet market demands. By 1979, the chain included approximately 300 stores worldwide. The 80s saw the company aggressively expand the number of stores as well as layouts and floor space. By 1989, the company had doubled its chain to include more than 550 outlets worldwide. Despite the growth, Pier 1 was forced to slow down the pace in 1990 after 7 years of expansion. Economic sluggishness in the United States forced the slowdown. By early 1991, its chain included more than 650 stores. Pier 1 trimmed its home office staff, reorganized management, and brought its own advertising activities in-house to save money. Pier 1 continued to emphasize imports from low-cost producers in the mid-1990s. China, its largest supplier, contributed about one-third of its inventory in the early 1990s. Other suppliers included India, Indonesia, Thailand, and the Philippines. Sales of furniture and kitchen goods each represented about 1/4 of the company's revenues in 1994. Textiles and jewelry each comprised about 13% of the sales, and the remainder was attributed to miscellaneous gifts and accessories. By the turn of the century, Pier 1 had exceeded over $1 billion in sales. During its 40th anniversary in 2002, Pier 1 Imports used the theme "From Hippie to Hip." The downfall of Pier 1 can be found starting in 2018. Brand leaders tend to believe that they define a brand's competitive set. This is wrong. Customers define the competitive set. You call the competitive shots. At Pier 1 Imports, management looked at the home goods marketplace and assumed a competitive set incorrectly. Then CEO Alistair James told analysts that although there was competition from online sellers such as House, Wayfair, Amazon, as well as retail competition such as Home Goods, HomeSense, Room to Go, and Target, they were all contenders. The problem was that Pier 1 was focused not on those companies as their competitors, but instead companies such as Williams-Sonoma, Pottery Barn, and Crate & Barrel. Compared to Pottery Barn, Williams-Sonoma, and Crate & Barrel, Pier 1's prices were less expensive, but relative to the brands in the actual competitive set, Pier 1 was no longer a bargain. Value was another area where the management team made mistakes. First, management held the mistaken belief that price and value are the same. Price and value are not the same. Every brand must have a good value regardless of price. Price is the monetary cost. Value is total costs, price, effort, and time relative to the desired total brand experience. Pier 1 Imports offerings were no longer a good value. Management does not decide a brand's value. The customer decides the brand's value. But Pier 1 Imports did not manage the brand with this fundamental principle in mind. Although "me too, but cheaper" is a strategy, customers of Williams-Sonoma, Pottery Barn, and Crate & Barrel did not perceive Pier 1's Imports offering as comparable. On January 6, 2020, it was announced that Pier 1 will close up to 450 stores, citing a reduction in corporate headcount. On February 17, 2020, Pier 1 Imports filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the U.S. District Court.
The retail casualty in the COVID crisis. After 58 years in business, Pier 1 Imports is now closing all stores. The home furnishings company said it tried to find ways to remain in business, but that liquidation was the best option. Pier 1 currently has more than 500 stores, which was already cut down from 1,000 last year. Orders placed on the company's website will continue to be fulfilled. The company plans to sell its remaining inventory.
Hey, if you just watched my video, thanks for watching. Hit that like button and please subscribe to Eric C. Productions.